Robert had two dads, a rich dad and a poor dad. One had a PhD, one didn't finish 8th grade. Both had high income and were very successful in their career, but one struggled financially, while the other made it to be one of the richest men in Hawaii. Both dads gave him advice, but gave contrasting points of view about money. One would tell him, the love of money is the root of all evil, but the other would say, the lack of money is the root of all evil. If you want to be rich, you got to learn from the rich, and that was what Robert did at the young age of 9. If you don't have rich parents, but want to uncover the secrets to be rich, you can learn from Robert Kiyosaki. Let's jump right in. First, you need to know the difference between assets and liabilities. Assets are something that puts money into your pocket. Liabilities are something that take money from your pocket. Let's do a quick test. Is your car an asset? Nope, it is not. Is your brand new television an asset? Nope, it is not. Is owning part of a company an asset? Yes, it is, and that happens when you buy stocks. Is your house an asset? That depends. You gotta ask yourself this: does your house put money or take money out of your pocket? If it puts money into your pocket, like if it's rented out, it is an asset. But if you live in it, and it takes money out of your pocket, it is a liability. Now let's look at this diagram to understand cash flow. Income, expenses, assets and liabilities. Income measures money coming in. Expenses measures money going out. Assets generates income. Liabilities result in expenses. Robert states that there are 3 types of people: the poor, the middle class, and the rich. The poor only have expenses. The middle class buys liabilities they think are assets. The rich buys assets. Let's examine the cash flow of the poor. As Robert mentioned, the poor only have expenses. The moment they have their paycheck, it goes straight to expenses like rental, food, transportation, and clothes. And this often leaves them with little to no money left, and they're trapped in that endless loop of living paycheck to paycheck. If you find yourself in this situation, you got to take action. 2 things you can do. 1. Lower your unnecessary expenses. Number 2. Increase your income by looking for better paying jobs. And if you need to, upgrade your skill sets. Break out of the cycle. Next up, let's look at the cash flow of the middle class. As Robert has mentioned, the middle class buys liabilities they think are assets. Their main source of income is their salary, and with their income, they'll take up bank loans to buy their house, their car, and subscribe to credit cards. These are liabilities, and they end up as payment in the expenses column. And this is why the middle class struggle. When their income increase, they will increase their expenses. Let me give you an example. When they get a job promotion, their income will go up. And what will they do with this extra income? They will use this income to buy more liabilities they think are assets. So how do they go about it then? They will take up bigger bank loans to buy a better car or a nicer house. So what's the struggle here then? They are caught in the rat race and they become a slave to their daytime jobs just to pay off their liabilities and expenses. In Robert's words, it is not about how much money you make, but it's about how much money you keep. Finally, let's look at the cash flow of the rich. Robert mentioned it. The rich buys assets. Actually, the rich don't work for money. They make their assets work for them. Assets like real estate, stocks, bonds, and intellectual property. These generate income in the form of dividends, rental income, royalties, and interest for the rich. And here's the best part. All this income are generated whether they work at their daytime job or not. What this simply means is this: they could go on a vacation, be at the beach sun tanning, sipping on some iced lemon tea, they take the plane back home, and they made money. And here's the crazy part. The asset column generates more than enough income to cover their expenses. And that's the definition of wealthy. When your income is more than enough to cover your expenses. So you might be wondering then, how did they get there? Is it possible for me to get there? Well, here's how they did it. Why the rich get richer. They use their income to buy assets. These assets in return generate income. And the moment when they get this new income, what will the rich do? They will buy more assets. And these assets, in return, generates even more income. And this cycle keeps repeating itself. And so that is how the rich get richer. In Robert's words, rich people buys luxuries last. The poor and the middle class buys it first. If you want to be rich, this is Robert Kiyosaki's advice. Start minding your business. Keep your daytime job, but start buying assets and not liabilities. Have this mentality that every dollar you add to your asset column is an extra employee working hard to earn you more cash. So you might be wondering, how can I go about this? First, you need to raise your financial IQ and gain knowledge of the following subjects: accounting, investing, understand markets, and the law. So what is accounting? Accounting is you understanding and making sense of numbers. Investing is the knowledge to use your money to make more money. Understand markets is about knowing how supply and demand impacts the economy. The law is about you understanding tax laws and how you can keep more of your money. Finally, you need to know obstacles that can prevent you from being rich. Number 1, fear. Some people are so afraid that they lose that they end up losing. Number 2, cynicism. In other words, self-doubt. And this can be a stumbling block for many of us, and it will hinder us from taking that leap of faith to try something new. Number 3, laziness. When we get good at something, we tend to get complacent, and this laziness can hold you back from continuously striving to improve yourself. Number 4, bad habits. Bad habits like binge watching Netflix or spending many late nights out having drinks. Make better use of your time. Number 5, arrogance. In Robert's words, every time I've been arrogant is when I lost money, because I believed that what I didn't know was important. Don't let arrogance stumble you. We've come to the end. Thank you for watching.